Hey guys, it's Video Tech Dude from Video Tech Dude Academy, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can make this cool postcard photo effect. At least that's what I call it. I like putting this in emails and on my website and things like that. So I'm going to be showing you how you can create it in Photoshop CC. Let's dive into Photoshop. Alright, so here we are in Photoshop CC. I've done this effect or created this effect on other older platforms or versions of Photoshop, and it works just as well. Let me know if you have any problems if you're using an older version. So this is what it looks like, and I recreated here again, and you can even switch out this photo pretty easily as well, and I'm going to be showing you how you can do that in this tutorial. So the first step in creating this effect or this photo is you go to the upper left hand corner to File and then New, and then you want to make sure that these two numbers right here match. These do not match now. There we go. And you want a square canvas. You can name it whatever you want right here. I'm just gonna name it graphic. Awesome. And I'm just gonna hit create right here. All right, so now we have our blank square. I'm gonna find the photo which I will be using. I have two photos right here. I'm gonna start off with this horizontal photo because it's not a square, and I'm going to be showing you how you can make it into a square too, because your photos might not be a square. Here we go. And so I am going to use the rectangular marquee tool and just select a square by holding down the shift key on your keyboard, clicking and dragging over your photo. Awesome. And now what I'm going to do, you can do it differently, but what I like to do is I like to hit select inverse. Before you delete anything, you have to go over to the layer right here, right click on it on the text, and then go to rasterize layer. After that, we're just going to hit the delete key on the keyboard, and it makes it into this perfect square. And I think I actually did a pretty nice job of framing this decently. You might have to do it a couple times to get it right. But why I like doing it this way is it makes it so the transform tools or little corners right here are in a position to where it makes it a square and it doesn't go past the border of the image. And so the next step is you can make this picture bigger. I'm gonna hold oh my gosh, I'm gonna hold Alt and click on one of the corners. This makes it bigger, and then you can add a border to it, or in Photoshop it's called a stroke. And we're gonna go to the bottom left or bottom right hand corner down here. We're gonna actually it's under the effects right here. Gonna go to stroke, and then we have stroke. And it actually is working right now, but you just can't see it. So I'm gonna change the color to like gray just temporarily so that we can see it while we're working on it. This issue we have here of not being able to see it against the background is solved when we add in the shadow in the final result. So I'm gonna make the size not too big, just so you can see that there's a border around it. So maybe something like this. Awesome. So the next step to this effect right here is creating the shadow in the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the pen tool over here on the right. Looks like a old style pen. And then you can go over to your layers over here. Gonna go down and create a new layer by clicking the plus. Put it below the picture, and then I'm just gonna go around and kind of trace the outside of this, and I'm moving around the image too by using by holding the space bar and dragging with my mouse. Here we go, and there we go. And then, so this is now a connected line, but what we have to do is hit the shape button right here. And now that will make it into a shape. And you can see that the shape is white. We want this to be black. So I'm gonna double click on the middle of this layer right here. And that'll bring up the color option for this layer. And I'm gonna slide this down all the way to black. There we go. And then I'm gonna zoom out by holding Alt and scrolling on my mouse. I'm gonna decrease the opacity to about 43% for now. But what we can do now is put this layer right behind the picture, and then pushing A, it toggles you to this white arrow, unlike the normal black arrow. And you can click on one of the corners to make sure this one is the only one that's solid blue, like this is white up here, unless you can click on it. And you can drag this out, and that will expand the shape. I'm gonna do that a little bit up here as well. And it's funny, I actually accidentally made the border the same color as the shadow. So we're gonna fix that by going down here to stroke. I'm just gonna double click on it, yes, and then hit color. I'm gonna change it to white. Awesome, looking good already. Cool. And so we want almost all the edges of the picture to be shown except the very tip of it. So I'm gonna do that by going all the way up here. I'm gonna click on my shape layer. I'm gonna select this and just move it around until the very tip of this is not gray. Perfect, there we go. You can see it looks pretty good. And then we're gonna do the same thing for the adjacent side. All right, and you can also use your arrow keys on your keyboard as well to move this around, but sometimes the mouse works best for me. Okay, this is looking great. And I actually like this opacity. I made the black shape layer. You can always mess around with it too if you'd like. Making it very subtle or whatnot, but you want it to be there enough to where you can see the border around the picture. It kind of makes it look like that postcard stamp or something like that. I really don't know why I get that name. Let me know in your opinion or in the comments down below if you agree with the name of this, and what would you name this effect, because I don't know. The final subtle change that I like to make is I'm gonna click on the picture layer and the shape layer by holding shift and clicking on both of those. I'm gonna do hit Control T, that opens up the transform, and then I want to make it so that this skew of the shadow lines flat with the bottom of the screen. This gives it a slight effect that it's kind of peeling away, in my opinion. All right, that looks pretty good. And so now the picture is a little off kilter, and I believe that, in my opinion, that it makes it look pretty nice. So that's pretty cool. All right, before I show you the text and overlaying the text, I'm gonna show you how you can easily swap out this image for any other image that you have. So I'm gonna go back to my photos, and I have this one that's already square. It doesn't have to be square by all means. And I'm gonna drag this over in here, kind of roughly estimating the size. You don't even have to rotate the image if you don't want to, but it might make the effect a little better. I'm just gonna put a little skew. There we go. I'm gonna turn off this layer for now. You can do this part I'm about to do first if you'd like. And I'm gonna hold down Control and then click on the image right here. You can see there's a little dashed line on the little hand. I'm gonna click, and then this highlights the image. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit the mask button, which is the little rectangle with the O cut out, and boom. You might think that it didn't do anything, but it did. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit the unlink right here, and then I'm gonna drag this mask we just made up to this other image. Gonna hit the link, do that, and boom, it's perfectly in the right orientation. But you may be asking yourself, but what about the stroke? Well, that's easy to apply the same exact thing without going through the steps. Just right click on the little empty space here, do copy layer style, click on the new one, do paste layer style, and we have the exact same border as we did before. So that's super cool, and I think this looks great. If you want to reposition this image without moving the whole thing, all you have to do is push the little link right here, make sure it's off, and then you can move around this image without having to worry about it falling off the edge or anything like that. So that's pretty awesome. And then the last step, of course, is to add the text onto it. You don't have to do it if you don't like, but I'm just gonna get the text tool, click anywhere, and that creates its own layer. I'm just gonna type video tech dude and size it up. I'm gonna bring this layer to the top just by clicking and dragging on it, and now it's looking pretty good. And I can just select everything. I'm gonna bring, whoops, where's everything else? All right, we need to link that back, and now we should be able to drag everything, and now we're all good. Awesome. And I'm gonna bring this to the top of the screen almost. Okay, like that. And then I like the text to overlap a little bit because, I don't know, I just think it looks graphically cool. And now we have this effect. And the final step before you export this is you wanna get the background here and push delete. We're gonna say yes, delete the background. And now there's the checkered background, and that means that it is transparent. That will make it so that when you export this as a PNG, you can make it so that any background you put it on, it has that background. So if like a website's blue and you put it on the website, the background will still be blue instead of it just being a white square. So that's super awesome. And so when you export the image, you want to go to File, Save As, and then you want to click PNG right here. And then that will make it so that you can save it as a transparent image. I'm just going to hit Save. And you have three options right here. I usually just do medium file size. I don't need anything crazy. Alright, and now it is saved out, and that's the effect. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, just let me know down in the comments, and if you want the file for this project, I'll try my best to provide that in the description below as well. I hope you enjoyed this video and have a good night.